Welcome to the Non-Superheroes Gets Dads podcast. No, we can't fly. No, we can't shoot lasers or pick up giant buildings. But what we can do is help set the foundations for our families, be present for our kids, and combat generational cycles. On this podcast, we dive into everything dad-related, from the struggles we deal with as fathers to what our favorite thing, the barbecue, is. Hello, I'm Sean Laurie. Hope you guys are having an amazing day. Hope you guys been enjoying the holidays. Before we jump into it, guys, like always, right, make sure you like, subscribe, share, tell a friend. You guys know I appreciate the support so much. Now, with that being said, man, I'm back after taking a week off, right, for the holidays. I hope you guys all had an amazing Christmas, Kwanzaa, Hanukkah, whatever, whatever it is that you guys were celebrating, man. I just hope you guys was able to really just enjoy yourselves with your family and loved ones. And I feel good. I feel recharged. Something I definitely needed, just to be able to just get off social media. As you guys know, I'm not the biggest on social media. And then just be able to spend time with family and loved ones was a beautiful thing, man. For my Christmas, just seeing all the kids and stuff just smiling and be excited. I'm not gonna lie to y'all. Most of my Christmas was putting stuff together. As you guys probably know, can relate to, right? You're putting stuff together. I'm looking for batteries, right? All those different things. It took me forever to put my son's basketball court together, because technically it was supposed to be 3 to 4 people to put it together, and it was just me. So you can only imagine how long that took. But with that being said, man, we are now entering, right, a new year, right? We are now saying goodbye to 25 and entering 26. And so a few things I want to speak on today. Well, one, I want to do some reflecting a little bit, and then also just talk about, right, because a lot of us do the New Year's resolution, right? What our plans are, what our goals are. And I want to actually talk about that a little bit, why that doesn't always go as planned, why it doesn't go how we think it should go. So that's what I wanted to dive into today. But before I dive into that, man, this year has been really incredible when I really sit back and think about it. It was until my boy Ashik Jawan, I was talking to him the other day, he kind of highlighted some things that, you just be moving, right? Life just be going where you just kind of take things for granted, I guess, or you're not really paying attention to it. You're going to the next thing. So, man, for me, being able, this year's been amazing, just because I've been able to meet so many more amazing people because of this platform, but also outside of this, which has been dope to seeing my kids just grow and take another leap into, as they're slowly turning to adults. My oldest is technically adult now, right? And seeing her growth and being able to do a giveaway, right? That was fun for me. Again, I plan on doing more of that. But this year, I was able to give back some. I was able to really connect, the channel and people subscribing is growing, which is a blessing. Being able to, move into a brand new home, right? And be able to be nonprofit now, right? Where I can be able to give back more to you guys like I want to. So just those things like really stick out to me, are big highlights for me. Is something I said I wanted to do was in 2024. Actually, I said I wanted to be a nonprofit, and I wasn't sure how that was going to go, but in 25, I was able to make that happen. And so that's been like amazing and a blessing to have. But at the same time, there's also been some downs as well, right? As amazing, that is, but there has been some times where I've been challenged. I've been challenged as a father. I've been challenged as a husband. I've been challenged as an individual. I've been challenged as a coach, right? There's been times when in all phases I haven't had always my best moment. I always haven't had my best moment as a husband, as a father, as a friend, right? There's things that, there's still I need to work on. And for me, there's always going to be things I need to work on, because I'm constantly trying to make sure I grow, constantly make sure I be the best version of myself. I need to make sure I'm also tapped into what I need to be in my growth with God, right? Me spiritually, which is super important to me, as you guys know, but be able to grow and and take that to another step as well. So there's still things for sure that I am definitely working on and trying to be the best version of me, because I'm not gonna lie to you, I struggle with certain things, but I thank God for my community and the people that really have my back to kind of point out things when I'm slacking and to keep pushing forward. So that's just a little reflection for me. That's something that, I wanted to share with you guys as well. Obviously the highlights, but I try to make sure I be very transparent with you guys, and never to try to act like I'm better than the next person, but just that my life experiences and the things that I've gone through and things I've helped others with. It could have been, either with me mentoring or just random conversations, talking to friends, family, no matter what it is, it's been something where, it has helped me get to where I'm at now. Now, with that being said, I wanted to talk to you guys about something that we all do, I feel like, and which I mentioned earlier, the New Year's resolution. So for me, I'm not big on New Year's resolution. I think I've shared that with you guys before. I'm more so focused on the word, and that's like the theme for me. And then I go by that. So it's crazy because right now I can't even think of the word that I had for 25. I do know though that that word basically was a theme for that year. So maybe I'm already in the mental space of moving on from 25, right? I'm in 26 now. So for me, the word that seems to stick out that was revealed to me is the word awakening. Awakening. I have no clue. I know what the word means, but I don't know how that's going to be necessarily implemented into my life right now. But I do know that is the word that is going to be the theme, unless God shows you something else. As of right now, awakening is the word that is going to be my theme for 26 and seems to be sticking out to me. So whatever that entails, I'm excited about. There's going to be some ups and downs with that. There's going to be some excitement. There's going to be some rough patches, I'm sure. But I am definitely excited about seeing what 26 has for me and for my family and for this platform and different things like that. Now, with that being said, why is it, because I mentioned, speaking on why New Year's resolution doesn't necessarily pan out a lot of times for us. And from my experience and from what I've noticed, it's because we're chasing the identity and not trying to change the habit. So, for example, you might say, I don't know, we'll use the gym because everyone likes to do the gym. So in 26 in 2026, I'm going to lose 40 pounds. I'm going to be more disciplined. I'm going to stop procrastinating. Right? These are things you're saying, but those are more so identity goals with no daily behavior attached to it. Your brain can't execute be better. It can though. It can execute. I'm going to walk 15 minutes a day. I'm going to start cooking more instead of going out to eat every day. I'm going to do push-ups when I wake up in the morning, right? When life gets busy for me, life gets busy for me being a coach, being a dad, working, take care of my family, and I'm sure for many of you guys it's the same thing. But when that happens, your goals kind of get blurred. Your goals just at a certain point just falls apart, and that's why a lot of times we see it where in January, for example, you're going to see the gyms packed. It starts off so strong in January, but then February, March, all of a sudden that same gym is empty, or whatever it is that people said they were going to do. It starts off so strong and then it fades away, and that's also because, in my opinion and my experience, because it's happened to me, we're relying more so on motivation instead of systems. So that's why the goal that you had for, hey, you know what, in 2026, I'm about to eat better, or whatever the case is, you're not really putting a system in place to make sure that you can implement that. You're just more so going off of maybe talking to one of your friends, maybe you went to a seminar, maybe you watched a video, you listen to a podcast, watch this podcast, whatever the case is, you're motivated, which is great. Nothing's wrong with you being motivated. There's plenty of times where I'm watching something, or, when I had a mentor, when Pastor John, shout out to him, when he was my mentor years ago, there was times where I was super motivated. I'm ready to go. I'm on fire to execute this, and this. But after a while, that fades away. And so don't get me wrong, there is still a purpose and there's a need for that motivation, because that motivation helps you at times, gives you that extra push, but you can't rely on it. Systems is something that we have to make sure that we're implementing, because systems they're going to be something that's going to be solid for us. People wait to feel like, or I should say, people wait to it feels like, instead of designing a routine, people go off of feelings more so than the routine. And then that's what happens. And then when you do that, that's when your bad days end up really escalating. So for example, you fall off, I don't know, you don't eat like you wanted to, and you feel bad, you miss one day. Now all of a sudden it goes multiple days, because you kind of lied to yourself, right? You told yourself, hey, this is what I'm going to do. Then you start beating yourself up. So there's no way we can go from 0 to 100. Shout out to Drake, I guess. That's, 0 to 100, right? But it's just too much. If I say, for me, again, I'm a slimmer built, right? If I say, hey, I'm going to make sure that I get up at 5 in the morning every day to work out, and I'm not going to have no sugar. I'm going to work out 7 days a week, but I haven't worked out in 6 months. That doesn't make sense. But if I tell myself, you know what, I want to do this because I want to make sure that I am being healthy for my kids, that's going to be different. But with that said, I still need to implement some type of system. Because if not, just think about it, we're going to get overwhelmed, right? Our brain is just going to get overwhelmed. We're going to get overstimulated, and then we're going to beat ourselves up because we're trying to do something that we didn't build the habits to do. So, and being okay with that, because a lot of times we tell ourselves lies too, like, man, you know what? I said I was going to start this business, or this business was supposed to be here already and it's not there. I said I was going to go back to school full time, but I didn't. Okay, instead of trying to do that, how about you just take one class? How about, you're trying to be more involved as a father, okay? Instead of trying to be at every single event that your child has, and that's hard because of your schedule, okay, make sure that as a parent, or make sure you instill or install, I should say, something with your schedule where you're like, hey, you know what, at least twice a month, I'm able to go to my kids' volleyball game or whatever the case is. Because I changed my schedule a little bit so I can do this, or, whatever way you need to do to maneuver. But if not, it's going to be too much and you're going to be overwhelmed. And now all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible father because I couldn't go to none of my kids' games, or I couldn't go to the ceremony he had or she had. Also, I slacked off on working out. Dang, I still haven't started my business. Now all of a sudden you putting yourself in this place of just beating yourself up when you don't need to. And a lot of times we get so stuck in thinking we're lazy because we didn't accomplish whatever goal. Where it's like, no, that had nothing to do with us being lazy. It had to do more so with us not creating a system that made sense so we could accomplish whatever goal we had for ourselves for that year, right? And so, that's another thing that sticks out. And then just what I think I mentioned it earlier, just we don't really plan for life happening. Life be lifing, right? We don't plan for that. We get upset because I want to work out today and I can't because my kids are sick. Or I'm running late to work, so I didn't have time to read the books that I said. I said I was going to read a book every day in the morning, and I didn't do that today because, I woke up late and I was I was running late for work, or whatever the case is. But when you do that, it's going to drain your energy as well, because now you're beating yourself up over something that wasn't under your control. Now, you being late for work, okay, maybe that was a little bit under your control, but let's just say something happened with the kids the day before. So you overslept even though your alarm went off and you ran late. That's just life. Life be lifing. And we have to understand that. But if we don't, it's going to drain our energy. And now all of a sudden we're beating ourselves up. We're feeling like we're slacking. We're feeling like we're not going to accomplish it. But people don't fail from lack of desire. They fail from the lack of fallback plans. That's what it comes down to. So the lack of desire is not the reason. We all want to be great. We all want to accomplish different things. It could be, I want to read books more. I want to work out. I want to be a better spouse. I want to be a better father. Whatever the case is, these are all the different things you want to do, but you're not able to do it. And then because you're not able to do it because of life circumstances, you beat yourself up instead of saying, hey, you know what? It's okay. It's all right. But that's what I feel like is the biggest mistake as well, is because we start trying to keep track of success. As far as, I've been working out 3 times a week. I've been reading a book 3 times a week. I know I keep using books, but you get what I'm saying. Like, I'm reading a book 3 times a week. I missed a day. Now all of a sudden it makes me failing, or it makes me slacking in this area. And now all of a sudden, because you're in your head, because your energy, you're beating yourself up because you're trying to put these certain expectations where you haven't even built yourself up to get to those expectations. You're beating yourself up off of something that you just want to do, that is your desire, that you're trying to work up to. But you want to try to accomplish it all in one day, right? It doesn't matter what it is. I tell my kids this all the time as well. And that goes for me as well. I've been doing this podcast stuff for almost, or I think 2 years now. And it'd be easy for me to be like, man, why don't I have this? Why can't I have this, or do this or do that? And then get in my head where I start drifting. I start not giving you guys this content, not sharing with you guys, not being able to help other fathers. Because I've continued this, I've came across many fathers, shout out to a lot of y'all as well, but they have told me this has been very helpful for them. This has helped them with certain situations, or this has been very informative for them with just in life. I know plenty of men that don't even have kids that said they tap in to my platform, which I appreciate. And they're more so looking at like, when I have kids, these are certain things I'm going to make sure I pay attention to, or these are certain things I'm going to implement, which is a blessing. But what if I got in the headspace of, you know what, I don't have, 15,000 subscribers on Spotify or YouTube. So you know what, forget this, because I was supposed to already be here. Who said that? We said that. No one else said that. We're telling ourselves we're supposed to be somewhere when we haven't even, one, probably did the work that we need to. Two, I said B. One, haven't worked up where we want to. And 2, we haven't been consistent enough. Right? Build those strong habits over time. If I continue doing what I'm doing, and let's say, it takes 10 years for me to get, quote unquote, to where I want to be as far as what is deemed as success, is that a negative thing or is that a good thing? Because I stood with it, and now it took me 10 years to get where I wanted to get to, but now I'm here. Now I was able to get where I wanted to. I think that'd be a beautiful thing at the end of the day. So we have to be okay with just understanding that growth sometimes is restarting. Nothing's wrong with restarting. You can restart anytime. You missed a day, it's okay. You have the next day. That's perfectly fine. But like I said too, a lot of times, in my opinion, also we also don't make the goal or the purpose of it, we don't make it really meaningful. I want to work out and lose 40 pounds. Okay, why? I want to be healthier. But is that enough? Because this whole time you've been carrying these 40 pounds extra or whatever, and you haven't cared. Oh, I want to read more books more. Okay, why? Why is it like for me, right? I want to read more. I want to be more in tune with my Bible. I want to be reading more books that talk about financial literacy. I want to make sure that I am going to more business seminars. Why is that important to me? Okay, those things are important to me because one, I want to be to implement those things to my family. I want to show my daughters, hey, this is how you can start a business, or you can this is how you can save money over here, invest over here. Or if my sons ask me a question when it comes to certain things biblically, right? I want to be to answer those questions and be to give them the information because I did the work. I did the work, so now I can pour into them. So for me, that's going to be something that is going to last way longer than me just saying, hey, I want to, I don't know, read just because, you know what, people are going to be impressed that I read. No, I want to read more books because I want to get more educated on certain things. I want to know more about the law system, right? I want to know more about how it is as far as protecting our kids, how it is as far as if you go through a custody battle. I want to know these different things, right? So all of a sudden you're doing all these research, but now you're doing it not just for you. You're doing it because at the end of the day, you're going to be the pour into your family. You're going to be the pour into others. So for me, I look at it like you almost in a sense need to make the goal have a paying purpose. So I know the reason why I'm active, of course, I'm not the biggest dude in the world, but the reason why I try to make sure I take care of my health, because I don't want my kids to get, in their 20s and be like, dang, Dad, you can barely walk around. Dang, Dad, it's hard for you to go upstairs. Dang, Dad, it's hard for you to breathe. Dang, Dad, you got to take all these medicines because you can take care of your body. And so for me, that's something I want to be to do. I tell my son all the time, like, I don't want him to be able to beat me in basketball until he's like 16. Now, is there a chance he could beat me before then? Yes, absolutely. But my goal is to be to hang with him, while he's in high school. I want to be to still outrun. I want to still be to race my youngest right now, right? He's only, 7 right now. But when he's, 17 years old, I don't think I'll probably be able to beat him. But I want to be able to at least keep up with him somewhat. I don't want it to be where I'm huffing and puffing and my back's hurting. As we get older, as you guys know, pain you wake up and you just aching and you're in pain and things like that. So for me, those are big enough reasons in itself where I don't want to be able to not keep up with my kids. So my health goals are always tailored around being able to do certain things with my kids. I want to be able to do certain things with my grandkids, Lord willing. So for me, that's how I implement those things. And now you're like, okay, how do you do these things, Sean? You're listening certain things. Yes, for me, I do words. For you guys might not do words, right? So it's like, okay, well, what are certain things I can do to maybe help me be able to accomplish whatever goal I have for 26? And I would say is instead of a resolution, maybe pick like a behavior or pick a trigger, one minimum standard, right? So I don't know, a behavior, like I mentioned before, hey, when I wake up in the morning, I'm doing just push-ups, right? I'm doing push-ups. Now the trigger for that is I'm gonna make sure I say in the morning, but I want to make sure I do my push-ups right after I brush my teeth, right? And the minimum is 10 push-ups. So if I do 15, great. If I do 30, amazing. But at the end of the day, just doing 10 push-ups a day, and that might seem like, okay, it's just 10 push-ups. That's not bad, but you're starting somewhere. And then if you miss a day, okay, that's okay. I have another day to do those 10 push-ups, right? Or something like that. But just understanding, even on the worst days, it's still a win because you haven't give up on whatever goal it is. So that's how I kind of look at it for myself, is just making sure that I'm focusing on whatever goal that I have for myself and being okay with understanding that some days I will slack. Some days I will not do what I accomplish, and that's okay. Like I remember, again, I took the break off for Christmas, but a year ago, I would feel terrible. I would feel like I can't take a day off. I have to keep going, which is good for some people. That works for some people. But for me, I need to take that time off. I need to be able to collect my thoughts. I need to be able to just kind of, I guess, like get self-motivated again, right? Because there's times where, again, you guys know as well, there's times where you're just not as motivated. There's times where you don't want to go into work. You can love your job, but you can slack off at work, right? Or you're not locked in at work like you want to. Like, dang, that was a rough day. But you go back at it the next day. Now imagine if you did that same thing with your job that you did for yourself. If you said, dang, you know what? I wasn't the best dad today. You know, I promised my kids I'd get them ice cream and I fell short on that. You know what? All right, there's always tomorrow, right? I'm going to make up for it on tomorrow and go from there. Or, you know, you wasn't the best spouse you could be. You wasn't the best friend, family member, right? But that's okay. There's always another day to do it. So whatever goal, if you didn't, man, you know what? I said I was going to I was going to literally outline all my plans for my business. I was going to map out all my plans to get a house. I was going to map out all my plans to get this car, and I didn't. That's okay. You have another day to try to accomplish those goals instead of, dang, you know what? I didn't do it. Man, I'm going to stay where I'm at. Or, man, it wasn't for me, I guess. So I'm just going to, you know, chuck it as a loss. And now you're beating yourself up. I'm going to just try in 2027. I remember that last year. There was people, you know, they might have been joking, but the beginning or somewhere at the beginning of 2025, like I remember seeing like posts in March, like, dang, you know what, I already fell short of whatever goal they had. And they're like, oh, well, I guess I'll just wait till 2026. And it could have been joking, but there's people that really have that mindset. It doesn't go well for them the first 2-3 months, and all of a sudden they're checked out and they're like, dang, I guess I have to start all over. No. The great part is, I mean, you are starting over, but why not start over tomorrow? Start over the next day. Like, that's okay. There's nothing wrong with restarting. Nobody's going to say anything about you mapping out your business and, you know, you started it the next day instead. But guess what? As long as you was able to make strides and be able to accomplish certain goals and milestones and accomplish those things, nobody's going to care that it took you a month to really get to fine-tune your outline like you wanted to. Because if you was like intentional about it and understanding, hey, I didn't do it today, but tomorrow I'm going to do it. On my break at work, I'm going to just write 3 key points. You know, when I'm in the restroom, right, we're in the restroom scrolling. A lot of times we're scrolling, you know, on TikTok, Instagram, right? People have their phones in the restroom. During that time, that's a great time to kind of pinpoint certain things you want to do. Map out certain things you're trying to accomplish for yourself and make sure, oh yeah, okay, you know what? Let me set myself an alarm. I have an alarm that I made for myself to remind myself when it's time to work out, right? Or when it's time to do other things that I have that I want to do. Just because I know that I get so busy being a father, being a husband, being a friend, being a mentor, doing this podcast, posting, right? All these different hats that I have, coaching as well, all these different things that I have to at times set myself reminders, but being okay with understanding that I wasn't able to do X, Y, and Z today, and that's okay. So I just wanted to pinpoint some of those things to you guys and just remind you that it's all right. Don't beat yourself up because you only walked for 10 minutes. Don't beat yourself up because you only read 10 pages. You're saying, hey, I want to be able to pray more. I want to be able to connect with God more. And I'm not very good at praying. So you're learning how to pray. And you're only praying for 5 minutes. And you're like, man, I see people that are able to pray for like 15 minutes. Okay, that's them. That's not you though. And if that's something you want to do, great. But you have to work up to that. You have to build that relationship with God to be able to do certain things like that, right? So I just want to encourage you guys and tell you that this year, whatever it is that you guys want to accomplish, you guys can accomplish that. And there will be days where you might fall short, but the next day, just jump right back on it. That's the great thing about it. So even though you will fall short, on whatever it is your goals are for 2026, it doesn't stop. That doesn't mean it's over. That doesn't mean that you failed. Doesn't mean that you're not going to be able to accomplish your goals. All it means is, okay, you know what? That day I fell short. That's okay. I have another opportunity to go back at it. How is it that we could tell our kids? We tell our kids all the time, right? Hey, I'll move on, or it's going to be okay. That don't worry about it. There's going to be plenty more people. You're going to meet many more friends, many more spouses, whatever the case is. We tell our kids all the time, hey, forget about it and move forward, or forget about it and try again. But we don't necessarily do that with ourselves. So as long as we continue to do that for ourselves, we're going to be accomplished so many more things. So I am definitely praying for y'all. I'm definitely excited for y'all, whatever goals y'all have. And I definitely am rooting for you guys to accomplish whatever goals that you have for 2026. And yeah, man. And so like always, you don't have to be perfect, but you always have to be present. See you guys on the next one.